Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Maurice Dimba, and today we are going to place the guardrails on this bridge, and let's get started. If you take a look on the screen, you can see a bridge here, a very long one. Let me just come to navigate and rotate this. You can have a look at that. This is how it looks. Now, if I bring this close, you can see some posts already in place. So let me just delete some parts of this. So placing these posts shouldn't be a very hard thing to do. It's very simple, as you can just come here, comes to steel, and come to beam right there. And I used this part as a guideline, and I just place my cursor on top of that. You can see I'm snapping at a point here, but I'm not clicking on it. So I want this post to go to a height of 900 millimeter. So I just typed 900 right there, and I entered on my screen. So you can see a default profile is a beam. So what you can do, just double click on it, and you come to profile here and change that. I've done that several times, so this should not be a very difficult thing to do. And I'll just delete this. I'll delete this, and let me change the position of the XYZ axis. I'll come to work plane tool here and just place it here. Anywhere it will do. So let me come back once again and try to show you whatever I was trying to do, how to place the posts and give offsets or on distances. Now let me just feed here 900 right there, and I double clicked on this because I used 150 by 150 by 6 millimeter thick square tube there. Now I want to change this to the same thing. So you come to, let me just minimize this. You come to rectangular hollow sections, then come to square hollow sections here and I picked 150 by 150 by 6 millimeter thick. So if I click apply and accept that, and come here and modify by accepting the changes right there, it will change to square hollow section. Now I just did an offset. I made an offset here, and after doing an offset to this position, what I did, once again, I came here and placed a cap here. Just type cap, and I placed a cap here. Just click on top of that, and I placed a cap on top of this. That's all. So you can see a plate at the bottom end here. First of all, give it an offset to a position that is similar to this. I clicked on that, right click and come to move, and first of all I checked the position of XYZ axis. I want to offset it in the Y-axis direction, so I'll give dimension there 100 and click move, then change Y-axis to 0, then move in the X direction by 200. Let me just take it slightly off the existing ones so that I can show you whatever I'm trying to do. Let me just change that to 0 and change this to 100 once again. Okay, now if I come to cap here, let me just click on empty screen to deselect this member. When I come to cap plate here, I want to place a cap plate on top here. I'll just click on that and place a cap plate right there. So our target is to place this bottom plate, and I want to show you a simple way of placing that. What do we do? Just double click on this, then come to parts here. The thickness of the plate is 10 millimeter thick, so we want to make this plate bigger. We'll give it 200 by 200, which is a bit slightly small. We'll just give it 250 by 250. 250 by 250, and I'll click OK here, modify, accept, and that's all. Now I'll click on empty screen. Then I'll click on this plate, right click and come to explode. Then I'll click on it once again and come to special move, and I'll click linear. And I want to move this plate slightly down to the bottom end here. And which axis are we going to use? We're going to use the Z axis, and I'll give it 600, negative 600, and I'll be able to move that down like that and feed 50 there, so that I can just click move so that it get to that bottom end. Let me just bring it up slightly by 10 millimeter. Perfect. Now at the bottom end here, I want to place another couplet, but this one will leave it at default setting. So this part will change, will go back to default setting. So we'll delete that and apply that. So it's something similar to this, very simple as that. So it's not welded to this member. The plate is not welded, so we want to weld this to this plate to the post. What do? We just type weld here. Just type weld here and change this. Weld that to that. Give it time to process all the information. Now it has been welded. So this is exactly what we did on these posts. So I've showed you how to do that, and let's delete all this, and let's also weld this. This should be welded to that. You can see that it has been welded. Right click and refresh that. So we just copied this. We did the similar thing and gave an offset dimensions, and we ended up with something similar to this. Now we off to creation of the guardrails. Now I'll close this and bring this to a position that we can see clearly, and turn that round. You can see this clearly now. This is what we want to populate along the walkway, the pedestrians walkway, this side, and this side. Now we'll come back to applications and components here, and we'll just type this macro array, and double click on it. Then what do? We just change this to 86. There's a particular number of posts that we need. We need 84, just 84, not 86. And I'll go ahead and apply and click modify, then give an acceptance by clicking OK. Then I'll click the parts or the parts, the components of the parts that I want to populate along the pedestrians walkway. Now I'll select on this after disabling the assembly button here. Now I'll pick on this, then press Ctrl and pick on this, and pick on this also. Then I'll press my middle button on the mouse like that, then switch back to plan view. This is what we've just selected. You can see a top view from here. Now we are going to pick the origin point. You can see this side, pick the origin point of origin. Now our point of origin is this point here. We'll bring it close, and I will just snap at the middle point right there. Snap at the middle point right there and press our middle button on the mouse. And something has just gone wrong. It hasn't responded well. So what we'll do, we'll just switch back to our isometric view and redo this. Double click, and we'll pick on this, press Ctrl and pick the parts that we want to populate along the pedestrians walkway. So once I've picked all the parts I want to populate, I'll press my middle button on the mouse. So the moment you press the middle button on the mouse, the program or the Tekla structure will ask you to pick the point of origin. Then I'll switch back to plan view so that I can have a clear view of the point that represents my midpoint or the center point. Now I'll bring this close. I'll zoom close. Just bring it close. Then I'll snap right at the middle point right there. Then the moment you click, you can see it's requesting you to point on the x-axis. Now I'll point, this will be my x-axis, I'll point on that. Then again, it's asking you to point on the y-axis. Now I'll point on y-axis like that. Then I'll press my middle button on the mouse and give it some time to load everything, because I'm trying to zoom out, and you can also see it's populating whatever we've just selected. So just give it some time, everything to be populated. Then we go to another step. There we are. Now we'll zoom out and check whether whatever we wanted to do has been done properly. Let me just switch back to isometric view. So that we can take a look at that. You can see that we have all this in place. We can follow that, we can navigate and come here and rotate this, and we can see it's all the way to a certain point here. It's all the way to this point. We can see that. Perfect. Now what we want to do right now is now to select the last one. We want to select the last one and populate it to the parts remaining on this section here, whereby we'll be using this as our center or our midpoint. Now we'll come back to application and component, and we'll double click on the array, and we have to change this to 78, but the angle remain the same. So we'll click apply and accept and give an OK right there. Then we'll come to this post here. Then we'll pick on the parts that we want to populate. We'll press Control, pick on that, press Control, pick on that, and pick on that. Then press the middle button on the mouse to accept the changes, to accept the selection. Then I'll switch back to isometric to plan view, so that I can be able to populate those posts along this path. Now our center point will be here. I'll zoom close, and I'll just snap right in the middle here. And in this part, or in this midpoint, the direction of our x-axis and the y-axis will be now in the opposite direction. Now I'll first of all define my midpoint, which will be that, and you can see right here we are being requested to point the x-axis. Now our x-axis will be on this direction, that direction, and y-axis will be in this direction. Y-axis will not change. The one that will change is the x-axis direction. Now I'll click on that, then press my middle button on the mouse, and I'll zoom out to check whether what we've done is perfectly in the position that we intended it to be on. Then let me switch back to isometric view, and if I zoom close, you'll be able to see that we've populated these posts, but some are moving way off the mark, but it shouldn't be a very, very big worry. Let me just come to navigate and click here, and come all the way to this spot. It is not responding well. So what we'll do, we'll just terminate this. We'll terminate this. We'll press that and come here and delete this. So once again, we'll come back here and double click on this and click on this. Let me close that. Double click on here, then click on that, select the parts that you want to populate, that one, and press the middle button on the mouse. Or what we can do, we can extend this. Just double click on this and extend this to 86. To 86 or 88. take it to 88. Now I'll come here and try and check that. I'll click OK, then I'll come back to, I'll disable the assembly and come to radial array tool and double click on it and pick on that, press Ctrl and pick on that. I haven't made the selection perfectly. Now I'll come to radial array tool here and double click and pick on the plate, the base plate, and pick on the post and the cap plate right there. Then I'll press my middle button on the mouse. Then I'll switch back to my isometric view. Then right here, I'll snap right at the center. Press my middle button like that. That was a wrong procedure and we'll have to redo it. We'll come back here, somewhere here, and we'll double click on that and we'll pick on that, press Ctrl and select that and select this. Press the middle button on the mouse, then switch back to isometric view, the plan view, and we'll snap right here. Snap right there, and our x-axis will be right here or somewhere there, and the y-axis will be somewhere there. Then we zoom out and check. Whether it's okay. Come to navigate and rotate this. We'll double click on this after activating that. Double click on this and reduce this to 78. Double click once again and take it to 72. 72 right there. That's too much. That's too much. 75 will be okay. Let's see. It is in the right position. Almost. Let me press Alt and select. Let me come to navigate and rotate this. Perfect. Perfect. Now I'll close this and come to applications and component and pick the part again that we want to populate along. So we'll deactivate this the assembly and select on that plate and pick on the post and pick on the cap plate, and I'll press my middle button on the mouse and I'll go straight to the midpoint here. I'll define my midpoint right here, right there, and I'll zoom out and define my x-axis and y-axis right here. I'll press a middle button and switch back to isometric view, and I'll be able to check whether this has been populated perfectly well, and that has been populated well. So they're slightly not close to the position that we intended them to reach. So we'll add a number of posts. So this will come to 86, and we'll click OK and you'll see all the way there, or coming all the way to, it's coming all the way to that spot. You can see that our post is right there. Perfect. Now don't forget to save your work, because you might lose your huge time you must waste a lot of time if maybe the power goes off unexpectedly, and you'd start afresh, which is a total waste of time. You should not do that. Let me come to navigate and rotate this. I want to follow the same process. Click on that. Now I'll double click here. I'll come here and activate the radial array once again, and I've deactivated the assembly here. I have to deactivate it. I'll pick on that, then press Ctrl and select the components that I want to populate along the pedestrian walkway. Then I'll press my middle button to accept the selection. Now, which midpoint should I use? I'm going to use this midpoint, so I have to switch back to my plan view, so that I'll be able to define it perfectly under this, or on this on these points. I'll click on that, so you can see the instructions are clashing, so we have to go back and do it once again. We have to do it once again. So we'll come back here and activate the radial tool and pick on this. We'll press Ctrl and pick on that, and pick on this, then press your middle button on the mouse. Then switch back to the plan view and define your midpoint. So our midpoint will be defined right here. So our x-axis will be on this direction. Just zoom out and select your x-axis and select your y-axis right there. Then zoom out and you'll be able to check whether you've done the correct thing. So let me just zoom this close, and I'll be able to turn this round to see whether this has been populated in the right direction. Perfect. They're in the right direction, and they're heading all the way to this spot, to this direction. So let me just double click on this to see how many are they. Let me just double click. They're 75 and we need 86. 86. 86. Perfect. Just double click once again. Just add it to make it 87 and click apply and accept that. Now what we are going to do, we are going to select the last one as our main component to be populated along the mid section of our bridge. Let me come back to radial array tool macro here, then I'll select on this. This one is still deactivated. Let me deactivate that. Press Ctrl and pick on this and that. Then press your middle button on the mouse. Then you'll be asked to pick the origin point. Switch back to isometric view, and our point of origin will be this side. Yeah, zoom close and snap at the midpoint. Then define your x-axis, which will be that. Then your y-axis will be that. Then switch back to isometric view to check whether what you've done is correct. Right click and exit. What we've done is actually correct. Is correct. And it has gone past our curve, so we have to terminate it at this point. So what we want to do, we'll come here and activate the assembly and double click on this and reduce this number to 70 to 78 or 74. 78 right there. That will work much better. That will work very well. Now I'll close this and activate once again the radial tool. Come here and rotate this. I've told you several times that when it comes to rotation, pick the method that is suitable or comfortable with you. You're comfortable with it, whether it's keyboard or whether it is on the menu bar here. Let me double click on this macro and activate it once again, and let me deactivate that window, and I'll zoom out. There's a plate I want to select. I want to select that plate. Then press Ctrl and pick on this. I haven't selected. I haven't made my selection well. I'll zoom in and select on my plate. It's asking me the origin or point of origin, and I haven't selected everything. Now let me just zoom out. Let me just zoom out so that I'll be in position to select the plate. I'm not able to pick on the plate, but we'll pick it at a particular point. Press Ctrl and pick on this also, and pick on that. Then press the middle button on the mouse. Then you switch back to plan view. So once you've done that, come here and define your midpoint. Define your midpoint right here. That's your midpoint, and define your x-axis, which will be on that spot, and it hasn't been done perfectly, and we have to redo this. We have to redo this because our selection hasn't been effected properly. We have to hide this so that we can select this member perfectly. Let me double click on this and select on this. Press Ctrl and select on this. Then select on that, then press the middle button on the mouse, then switch back to the plan view, zoom out and snap right at the center. Then define your x-axis, which is that. Then y-axis. We're missing something. We're missing something on our selection, and we'll have to go back right there. We're missing something here. We'll double click on this, apply and accept that, then we'll activate it once again to make sure it is active. We'll select on that and we'll select on this. Then we'll press the middle button on the mouse, then switch back to plan view, then define our midpoint. We'll define our midpoint here. Then our y-axis is there. Still not correct. Still not correct. It's not correct. It is not correct. Absolutely, it's not correct. Double click on this once again. It takes time and accuracy. You have to be so accurate in doing this. Press the middle button on the mouse. It will come right on top here. And zoom, make sure you move in. Then define your x-axis. Then define your y-axis right there. Then we zoom out and take a look whether what we've done is right. This time around it's accurate, and all the posts are in position. All the posts are in position, so we have just to increase the number. So to do that, we have to increase the number to 86, and click modify, apply, and accept that. And you can see the number has gone all the way to this end. We can reduce that to 284. Perfect. Apply and accept that. Now what you should not forget is saving your work. We'll close this and we'll move to another step. Turn that round and you can see that. You can see all this we've placed just now. If you turn this, you can see everything we've just placed right now. So there's something we've just forgotten, which we should have done that together with the posts. That should have been done with the post to make our work easier. Now I'll come to steel here and come to a beam, pick on the beam here, and I'll pick on that and this on that spot, and double click on this and come to profile here, and I want to change this profile to rectangular hollow section or square hollow section, 150 by 150 by 6 millimeter thick. That's it. And let me change the position to left or right. Then click on that, right click and come to copy and click linear, then come to Z axis and we'll offset this to 600 or slightly take it up slightly. We'll take it up slightly by 50. Apply and accept that. So we'll do a similar thing this end, though we forgot to do this together with the post. So this should go together with the post. So we'll just do 2, then the rest I'll assume you've mastered how to do that. We'll take another one here. We'll place another one here. I'll come to navigate and rotate this. Once you've rotated this, we'll come back to steel and a beam right here, and we'll snap right on that spot. It's not accurate. It's not absolutely accurate. Let me just do that once again and snap on that spot and snap on that spot. Double click on that, then come and offset this to left side, and right click and come to copy and copy down to 550 and take it down 550 right there, and that's all. So what we'll do, we'll just copy these two, press Ctrl and come to copy, and we'll hold it from that spot and take it all the way to this position here, and do the same the other end. We'll just do 2, then we'll place the rails, because this is now a very simple thing to do once you've seen whatever I'm doing right now. Then I'll press Ctrl and pick on that, right click and come to copy, then I'll zoom and pick it from that position and copy it right here. Perfect. Now I'll close this. Once I've closed that, I'll come here and save my work. Remember, the posts and the brackets were supposed to be populated together with the brackets, so we've forgotten that. So I'm just showing you whatever we should have done, so this you can do by yourself. Now I'll come to steel, I'll come to steel beam, I'll come to that step later on. First of all, let me mark my points that will be guiding me in placing the guardrails. Now I'll come to points here, pick on that position, then snap on that spot and snap on that spot. I'll click apply and accept that, then come to points, then I want to locate a point here, then I'll snap on that spot and snap on this spot just to guide me. Now I want to place a guardrail here. I'll come to steel, then beam, pick on the beam, then I'll snap on this spot and go all the way to this midpoint here and snap right there. Double click on it so that we play with it with its positions till it lands on the position that we want it to be on. First of all, let's change the profile, and we want to use Albion. So what do? Just click on the Albion here, and then we come to Eve beams here. We want this to represent whatever we want to use as our handrail. Just move down, just move down to 25 and 02 here. Where's 25? We're here, and apply and give it an OK. Then come here and apply and give it an OK. Then this is how it looks. It's facing on the opposite direction, and that should not worry you. Just come here and click back and try below. Then this should be slightly in the middle. Try right, try middle. Then when it gets to that position, you should not worry so much. What we do now, just pick on this, right click and come to move, and we want to move this from this point. We want to move this from this point to that point, and do the same thing here. Copy this from that spot to this spot. Let's see this, whether it's connecting perfectly. Here we are, and it's perfectly well connected. We'll do the same thing the other end. Don't forget to save your work prior to populating everything. We'll come this end and come to navigate and rotate this and do just the same thing. We'll mark our midpoints by coming to edit and come to points here, and you mark your midpoint right there, and mark your midpoint once again at this end right there. Apply and accept. Then we'll come to steel, pick beam, then we'll snap right to the center, then all the way to the center here, and we've placed our member right there. Double click on it, then come to position here, then try rotate this back, then front, back front is not working, and like try top is okay, and try to shift this to the left, and we'll close this and try to rotate this, and when it get to this point, just move it. You shouldn't gamble a lot. Click and move this and place it right here. Perfect. Now we are almost to the next position, to the next stage, where we're heading to finalizing with everything. Now I'll come to our array tool here, double click on it, then select this and that, press my middle button on the mouse, then switch back to my midpoint and click right there and define my x-axis and Y axis. And I'll close that. I'll switch back to isometric view to check whether what I've just done has been done perfectly. The guardrails are in place. The guardrails are in place. So I want to do the same thing this side. Double click and pick on this, press Ctrl and pick on that, and then press the middle button on the mouse and switch back to plan view and do just the same thing. Snap right there, then define your x-axis and your y-axis. Then switch back to isometric view to check whether everything has been populated. There we are, and everything is in place, and our handrails can be seen. Our handrails can be seen right here.